Thursday, September 17. Welcome to CGN News. A Caribbean community Caricom travel bubble takes effect today with the aim of boosting the struggling inter-island travel and tourism sectors. Caricom heads took this decision following a special emergency session last Friday. The leaders were guided by a report from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARFA, which recommended that only those countries with no cases and those in the low-risk category should be allowed to participate in the bubble. Heads of government agreed that travelers from countries within the bubble would be allowed entry without being subjected to PCR testing prior to arrival and would also not have to undergo quarantine restrictions. Travelers may, however, be subjected to screening on arrival. Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be in the bubble as they presently meet the criteria. New York Attorney General Letitia James has assisted in scoring a major victory for Caribbean and other asylum seekers. James persuaded the U.S. District Court to order a preliminary injunction and block two Trump administration rules that limit access to employment authorizations for asylum seekers. In an interview with the Caribbean Media Corporation CMC, James stated that individuals seeking asylum in the United States are indefinitely delayed and barred in some cases from obtaining authorization to work. The district court agreed with James's arguments that the rules are unlawful and should be preliminarily halted. It became apparent that the rules should never have been implemented because the acting Secretary of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, Chad Wolf, never legally ascended to the position. Barbados is taking steps to become a republic by the time the island celebrates its 55th anniversary of independence in 2021. Governor-General Dame Sandra Mason, at Tuesday's opening of Parliament, announced the country's intention to remove Britain's Queen Elizabeth as head of state. In her address, she said the time has come to fully leave their colonial past behind. Barbados' first Prime Minister, Errol Walton Barrow, cautioned against loitering on colonial premises. That warning is as relevant today as it was in 1966, Dame Sandra said. She said Barbadians want a Barbadian head of state as it is the ultimate statement of confidence in who they are and what they are capable of achieving. A Jamaican anti-colonial campaigner and reparation lobbyist says the island must follow Barbados and ditch the Queen as head of state. Bert Samuel says that the retention of the monarchy in Jamaica's constitutional arrangement is an affront to the spirit of national independence granted 58 years ago. The Barbados government plans to remove Queen Elizabeth II as head of state next year, marking the first time in nearly 30 years that a Commonwealth country has dropped the monarch. Samuels, an attorney at law, told the Gleaner that he is pained to hear courts commencing daily with the absurd shouting by the police of "God Save the Queen." Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has nominated a new judge for the Florida Supreme Court after the High Court sided with a Democratic lawmaker and nullified the governor's previous appointment of Jamaican-born Renetha Francis. DeSantis announced the nomination of Judge Jamie Grossanz Monday evening to comply with the Supreme Court's deadline. The court ruled Friday that DeSantis exceeded his authority by appointing a constitutionally ineligible judge to the High Court and told him to pick another judge for the post. DeSantis said he chose Grossanz on Sunday. Grossanz, who was appointed to the 5th District Court of Appeal in 2018, served as an Orange County court judge in Florida. The UN Human Rights Council has accused the Nicolas Maduro-led government in Venezuela of crimes against humanity. In a scathing, in-depth report, experts commissioned by the UN highlighted grisly cases of torture and killings allegedly carried out by security forces. The experts said the people responsible for extrajudicial executions, enforced disappearances, and other crimes must be held to account to provide justice for untold thousands of victims. The Associated Press said the findings of the report are likely to ratchet up pressure on Maduro's government, which has seen an exodus of millions of Venezuelans to neighboring countries to escape the turmoil since he took power in 2013. The report was released on Wednesday. Hundreds of people near the Florida-Alabama border were being rescued from floodwaters brought on by Sally on Wednesday, and authorities fear many more could be in danger in the coming days. Ginny Cranor, chief of the Pensacola Fire Department, told CNN's Wolf Blitzer on Wednesday that the county experienced 4 months of rain in 4 hours. Sally has weakened since, making landfall as a Category 2 hurricane on Wednesday morning, but its devastating toll was visible across southern states by nightfall. By Wednesday night, it was a tropical depression, according to the National Hurricane Center. While all watches and warnings have been discontinued, Sally is still causing torrential rain over eastern Alabama and western Georgia. Former International Athletics Association Federation, the IAAF president, Lamine Diack, will be sent to jail for 2 years for his role in shielding Russian Olympic athletes suspected of doping. Diack also took bribes for current Senegalese President Macky Sall's 2012 campaign. Diack was found guilty of accepting bribes from athletes who were suspected of doping and allowing them to continue to compete in athletics competitions, including the London 2012 Olympics. Diack was sentenced to 4 years in prison, 2 of which are suspended, and a maximum fine of €500,000. Child rights agency UNICEF has condemned the sentencing of a 13-year-old boy to 10 years in prison for blasphemy in northern Nigeria. Omar Farouk was convicted in a Sharia court in northwest Nigeria after he was accused of using foul language toward Allah in an argument with a friend. He was sentenced on August 10 by the same court that recently sentenced a studio assistant to death for blaspheming against Prophet Muhammad, according to lawyers. Farouk's punishment is in violation of the African Charter of the Rights and Welfare of a Child and the Nigerian Constitution, said his counsel Kola Alpini, who told CNN they filed an appeal on his behalf on September 7. UNICEF on Wednesday issued a statement expressing deep concern about the sentencing. Indigenous protesters in Popayan, Colombia, have toppled a statue of Spanish conquistador Sebastian de Belalcazar. Police looked on as members of the Misak community used ropes to tear down the equestrian figure of de Belalcazar, who founded the city in 1537. Indigenous leaders said he represented 5 centuries of genocide and slavery. The Misak community blames the conquistador for the killings of their ancestors and land grabbing. The toppling of statues associated with slavery and colonialism has been a prominent feature of the Black Lives Matter protests in the United States and Europe. Popayan's mayor said it was an act of violence against a symbol of a multicultural city. Former Cabinet Minister Dr. D.K. Duncan has died. He was admitted to hospital late August after testing positive for the coronavirus COVID-19. A statement from his family at the time said after experiencing some signs of sinusitis and tiredness, out of an abundance of caution, Duncan did a COVID-19 test and the results indicated that he was positive. Dr. Duncan was one of the most controversial political figures of the tumultuous decade of the 1970s. That's it for CGN News. I'm Scott Wilson. Thanks for watching.